ready, or you need a wipe around?
Not much.
Jason, you good? Yeah. All right, fire away questions, Coach.
Mac, you have a pretty big test tomorrow in Spokane. What are you looking forward to tomorrow night against Gonzaga?
I mean, I think we're going to learn a lot, regardless of what happens. Obviously, it's a very difficult place to play against an outstanding team that's extremely well coached. So you don't know how your team's going to react to that, especially when you have this many new guys. So it's going to hopefully be a day of growth for us, one way or the other.
You said how important these last 4 or 5 days are going to be for prep. Did you get accomplished what you were hoping to?
Yeah, I think so. We were able to kind of work on ourselves last week and then turned our attention to Gonzaga on Sunday, Monday. But I think we cleaned up a few things, hopefully, and I'm hoping that'll show itself tomorrow night.
Mac, was it the intention to have an early season growth spot or measuring stick when you scheduled the home and home?
I mean, sometimes when you schedule those, it's what date works. And, with our game with Nebraska in early December and with what we have in Vegas over Thanksgiving, this was probably the best time for that. We wanted one right before conference play and one here, so we have K-State there and the Zags here. So, you find out a lot. And, fortunately, we played 2 high-level exhibition games. Obviously they've played Oklahoma in a regular season game, so we've played good competition. Hopefully we're ready for it.
Speaking to just roster decisions, redshirting Aleksa, I know you're trying to figure out the rotation. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, Aleksa wasn't able to be here this summer, so obviously that sets you back in itself. But he's made really good progress, and I think the opportunity for him to work with Jeremy Anderson in the weight room and work on his body and continue to develop his skill set will be really good for him. And in terms of Hudson, those conversations are ongoing with him and his family, and we're going to have to make a decision there soon.
Owen will have his first big test at Creighton tomorrow. How important is that matchup for him to really kind of be thrown back in the fire after?
Yeah, I wish he was back in shape and 100%. Clearly he's not there yet, and he probably won't be for a while. But it's going to be a test for our front line. It's two of the better passing bigs in the country, and they just happen to be on the same team with Ike and Huff. So that provides a lot of challenges. They have a lot of different ways to try to get the ball into the paint, and we have to do whatever we can to make those catches difficult.
Coming off the South Dakota, interior defense, rebounding, how is that 5 days and not something?
Yeah, we've tried to work on it. I mean, you can't blow your assignments, and we blew some assignments. Now, fortunately, we did a good job on the other end of the floor with our offensive rebounding to offset that. So, that's an area that we have to grow and we have to improve. And obviously, it's been a point of emphasis here the last 4 or 5 days.
Communication's good enough on that end because you have so many new guys.
It's still not where it needs to be, and part of it is guys are still thinking, and especially now when you implement a game plan that's maybe has some differences than our base defense in terms of how you're defending a specific screen or what you're doing in the post. So there's still a lot of thinking going on with the new guys, and that's going to be ongoing here until we get a little experience under our belt.
Talk about the front court. What are the challenges they present in the backcourt, especially with some better guys back there?
Yeah, I mean, Miller really shoots it. The Smith was terrific when he was, I believe, he was at Colgate before he transferred in, and he really runs the team. Is great defensively, Grant Foster is, he's such a good slasher, and he can take it off the rim. He can lead the break. His back cuts offensively. His work on the offensive glass, and then Worley really changes the game too because he's totally different. And he can switch some ball screens. He can provide a little bit more pressure defensively for them. And he's a downhill driver. So they can give you a lot of different looks. And you talk about the two bigs a lot, but at the end of the day, they're probably only on the court together 12 to 15 minutes, and the rest of the game you're dealing with a little bit smaller, more athletic lineup.
How important is it to have Jasen back out there as you try to piece together your lineup? with
Yeah,
his versatility?
yeah, it's good, especially for a game like this with their size and physicality. I think being able to have him available to us is going to be important.
Do you have an update on JTT?
He had surgery, successful surgery, and had it fixed. He'll be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Back this offseason, you said when you were putting the roster together, the emphasis was to get as deep as possible. Is this a good test of that against their roster?
Yeah, because they're playing a lot of guys as well, and we're going to have to. So, I think we have 10, 11 guys that are ready to help us. They're all at different levels of their understanding of what's going on in terms of our defensive planning and execution, and then the timing of some of our offensive sets. That's still far from perfect, but it's getting better.
As you're working on that, do you simplify things at all for those guys, or do you still kind of let it rip?
Yeah, I mean, you let it rip to a certain extent, and then obviously there's some things that we think will be successful tomorrow night that may not be successful against a different kind of defense. So you zero in on the ones offensively that you think are going to be successful, and then you have to have a couple defensive plans against a team like this because they can make you look foolish.
I think this will be the biggest game you've played this early since that Wisconsin game. I think it's 16-17. What are early season opportunities like this do for you the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, it's a quad one game, so you have an opportunity to help your resume. But at this point with this team, obviously results are really important. That's what I get paid for, is to have results. But we have to grow and we have to learn, and we have a long ways to go before we're going to be ready to tackle the Big East. So this is another step in that direction, and hopefully we can put our best foot forward.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.